We are almost finished with this box set. I can't believe it. I'm gonna have to go look for the other box set. I don't know what I did with it. It's been such a long time. We started with season 4. We started like September maybe. So, I mean, I started this last year with season 1. And we've gone all the way through. We did 1 through 3. That was the first box set. And now we're doing 4 through 6. And we are on disc 5 of season 6. Can you believe it? And we did survive season 6 with all our garbleness in the beginning, but that's sort of kind of been fixed. And if you could please like and subscribe. This video will take about 20 hours to upload, believe it or not. My upload speed is 12. So there you understand why it will take such a long time. And the other day, my upload speed dropped to 1, and it took 35 hours for an hour video to upload. Not kidding. So, welcome to the D. Louise book series. I'm Christina Tina. This is where we read books and talk about books. I'm a series person. I'm in it for this character progression from book to book to book. I like to read series. I like Star Trek. We're doing a series. It's binging a series. Every week, we do a recap of the episode and we talk about it a little bit. I would love to do these episodes live so that we could have some give and take. I am no expert. There are other people there that talk that are experts. I am not an expert. So I rely on the experts. And in the beginning of this podcast, I used to ask questions, but since nobody was watching my videos, no one was answering my questions, and I just kind of gave up a little bit. And I was posted on Facebook back then too, in the Star Trek Next Generation, and sometimes I'd get an answer, sometimes I wouldn't. But before we get started, what did I do? Oh, there they are. Wait a second. Excuse me. Sorry. Before we get started, oh, and that's not a bug or anything. That's the lock to the key to the cabinet. just for FYI. Before we get started, a couple weeks ago, I did some sci-fi. Now I got another box of books from this lady, but only a select few are sci-fi, so I can't do an extended video like I did a couple weeks ago. But I can do a short. Now, a couple of them are weird. So you have to decide. One of these guys is a classic. Absolute 100% classic. If you were in sci-fi way back when, this was your go-to guy for some stuff, for some weird stuff. He was like sci-fi Kuntz kind of guy. But Arthur C. Clarke, Hammer of God. In the year 2110, technology has cured most of our worries. But even as humankind enters a new golden age, an amateur astronomer points his telescope at just the right corner of the night sky and sees disaster hurling toward Earth, a chunk of rock that could annihilate a civilization. While a few fanatics welcome the apocalyptic destruction as a sign from God, the greatest scientific minds of Earth desperately search for a way to avoid the inevitable. On board the Starship Goliath, Captain Robert Singh and his crew must race against time to redirect the meteor from its deadly collision course. Suddenly, they find themselves on the most important mission in human history, a mission whose success may require the ultimate sacrifice. Ah, shoot. Ah, the book's a little dusty. Oh, wait a minute. Shoot. Sorry for my face. 1993. And look at all the books this guy. Look at all these. I have to come out back here. Sorry. Sorry, sorry, sorry. Sorry, 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 sorry. Okay. Robert Silverberg, Lord Valentine's Castle. Come to the magical planet of Majapur. Follow Valentine as he joins a motley crew of jugglers to seek the secret of his lost past across a wide and wondrous world. In the shattered city of shapeshifters, in the temple of Lady of Sleep, and the isle of the King of Dreams, from the depth of dying Emperor's dark domain to the destiny that waits him high atop Lord Valentine's castle. (1979). Harry Harrison, The Hammer and the Cross. 865 AD, warring kings rule over the British Isles, but the church rules over the kings, threatening all who oppose them with damnation. Only the dreaded Vikings of Scandinavia do not fear the priests. Chef, the bastard son of Norse raider and captive English lady, is torn by divided loyalties and driven by strange visions that seem to come from Odin himself. A smith and a warrior, he alone dares to imagine new weapons and tactics with which to carve out a kingdom and launch an all-out war. Oh, excuse me. Sorry. Mercedes Lackey, The Lark and the Wren, Book 1. Her skin crawled as if there was something watching her from the center of the wind that suddenly blown up around her with a howl and a rush. Malignant, that was what it felt like, as if this wind was a living thing, and it hated every creature it saw. A voice, an icy whispering voice, came out of the darkness from all around her. Everywhere yet nowhere. It could have been born of her imagination, yet Rune knew the voice was the ghost, and that to run was to die. Oh, my nose. And when you look at this, it doesn't say or infer in any way, shape, or form that it's sci-fi. I did not think it was sci-fi until I read the flap. The human with a nose on the cover. The best-selling award-winning author of the Radleys is back with what may be his best, funniest, and most devastating dark comedy yet. When an extraterrestrial visitor arrives on Earth, his first impression of the human species are less than positive. Taking the form of Professor Andrew Martin, a prominent mathematician at Cambridge University, the visitor is eager to complete the gruesome task assigned him and hurry back home to the utopian world of his own planet, where everyone enjoys immortality and indefinite knowledge. So I thought, and I'm gonna save this one for later. All right, so what did I say? Disc 5, Season 6, Episode 244. We did Birthright Part 2 the other day, and today we are doing Starship Mine. And We start off with a voiceover. Captain's log, stardate 46682.4. The Enterprise is docked at Remler Array, where it will undergo a routine procedure to eliminate accumulated baron particles. In preparation for the sweep, we are evacuating the ship. Let's see. So, Troy is with the captain. Um, we're still behind schedule on deck 7 and 8. Shall I tell Akari Base will be delay? No. Open up the transporters in Cargo Bay Do and divert everyone to deck 7 to there, and that should be back on track. Right. And then they're doing some more stuff. So then the captain talks with Dr. Crusher. Our carry base does not have the medical storage units I have requested. I have 7 living tissue samples that won't survive the Byron sweep any more than you or I would. I tried to reason with them, but all right. Have Commander LaForge transport a stasis unit from the Astro Lab. You should be able to convert it to store the tissue samples. Thank you, Captain. Then he meets up with Riker. I was just heading for deck 7. I put the auto shutdown sequence on hold until we get back on schedule. Oh, I think we can resume the sequence. Counselor Choi is taking care of the situation on deck 7. Aye, sir. So then Picard meets up with Data. It has been quite a day, has it not? Data says. Yes, it has. However, a change of routine is often invigorating and can be welcome diversion after a long assignment. Exactly, Picard says. I understand that Akara has some very interesting weather patterns. Mr. Data, are you all right? Yes, I'm attempting to fill a silent moment with non-relevant conversation. Picard says, oh, small talk. Yes, sir, I found that humans often use small talk during awkward moments. Therefore, I have written a new subroutine for that purpose. How did I do? Perhaps it was a little too non-relevant, but if you are really interested in small talk, then you should keep your eye on Commander Hutchinson at the reception this afternoon. He's a master. Thank you, sir. I will. So then he's approached by Worf and Geordi at the exact same time, and their talk mingles. Worf says the computer needs your authorization to disable command functions during the Byron sweep. Are we ready, Commander LaForge? Almost. I requested 2 additional field diverters, 1 for the computer core and 1 for the bridge. They haven't been installed yet. Additional units? Yes, sir. We've logged in 5 years more warp hours than most ships do in 10. So our Byron particle levels are high. I'm a little concerned that when the Remla array starts to sweep the ship, it'll have to use a stronger beam than normal in order to get rid of all the radiation. And that might overlook the field diverters protecting our key systems. How long until the new ones are in place? I'd say about 20 minutes, sir. Very well. Computer, disable all command functions in 30 minutes. Authorization Picard Gamma 6073. Authorized knowledge, computer said. Worf says incoming message. It's the station administrator. In my ready room, Mr. Worf. Captain, request permission to excuse Commander Hutchinson reception. Permission granted. I wish I could excuse myself as well. And then Geordi starts to ask permission too. So then Picard talks to Orton. Commander Hutchinson, Captain, if you're on schedule, I'd like to confirm that we'll begin the Bion sweep at 1500, approximately 1 hour from now. Confirmed. Commander Hutchinson also wanted me to make sure that you'll be able to attend his reception this afternoon. Tell him I'm looking forward to it, liar. He'll be delighted to hear that. Akron base out. He looks like he's leaving forever. He's looked like he's mourning an old friend. It's not the end yet. He's still got 3 more seasons to go. but he's looking over the bridge longingly. He's not going to be gone that long. Oh, and besides the fact, he told Geordi that he could not excuse his entire staff, and he excused Worf because Worf got there first. But otherwise, he's looking at the bridge longingly, like he's losing an old friend. It's going to be 3 more years. And I like an episode that has no stress in it. No one's being tortured or humiliated. But we're not finished with the episode yet, so who knows what goes wrong yet. Does anybody know why they had him do this? Walk all over the bridge looking at it longingly like he was losing his best friend or something? Was there a strike or something? I don't remember. Were they being threatened of being canceled or something? They were a high rated show. I don't know what was going on here, but he walks all along the bridge and longingly looks at it. What the F? Tuvok. That's Tuvok. That's Tim Russ. How many years before Voyager started? That's Tim Russ. So they have a conversation. Tell Aquabase we're almost finished here. We're going to need 2 more conduits. I need to run a diagnostic. Get the diverter aligned. Where's the ODN interface? Don't know. Let's see where this goes. So Beverly runs into this guy and she says, "It's good to see you again. Um, it's been far too long. What is it, 4 years? Now I want to hear everything that happened to you after you left Starfleet Medical. And I have so much to tell you. Oh, that must be Commander Riker. Excuse me, of course." Then Hutch goes talks to Will Riker. You must be Riker. He goes, "You must be Calvin Hutchins. Call me Hutch. Calvin, awful name. I never forgive my parents. As soon as I saw you, I knew you had to be the Enterprise first officer. Oh, your reputation precedes you. Flashing blue eyes, square jaw, quite the ladies' man I hear. Don't be modest, Will. May I call you Will?" "Sure. I also hear there's a musician. Hopefully you'll play something for us. It's not often we get to entertain the command crew of the flagship. Oh, and speaking of command, hello, Captain Picard." And Captain Picard walks in. So then he meets with uh the captain. And I don't see. I was just telling your first officer what a real pleasure it is to have all of you here. So how are you anyway? Well, thank you. Um, and then he goes to Data. Let's look. So then Data's imitating Hutch. "It's good to see you both again. Beverly, may I call you Beverly? Beverly, have you noticed the mean temperature here at Accra is slightly higher than normal for human comfort levels? I have found that humans prefer a body temperature of 21 degrees Celsius in order to operate most efficiently. However, there are several cultures who prefer their body temperatures identical to the temperature of the room in which they are standing." And then they go back to to Picard. "This is too much. I'm never going to be able to do all this." And Picard is still talking to Hutch and he's trying to get away. And Picard says to Jodie, "How much longer?" And Jodie's like, 25 minutes. Um, that's, I have enough time to back the ship and get my saddle. "Your saddle, sir?" "Yeah, saddle. It's a very personal thing. It has to be broken in, used, cared for." "You keep a saddle on the Enterprise?" "Oh, yes. I'll never know when I have the opportunity to ride." "I see. It's perfectly normal. Most riders do have their own saddles, of course." "Absolutely. Well, if you excuse me." Picard leaves. So Picard sees that the junction box is open. Hey, it's Chuvak. He's playing a bad guy today. I don't like it when my good guys play bad guys. I don't like it. So, he said, someone left this ODN junction box open. I thought your crew was supposed to be off the ship once the field diverters were in place. The diverters have to be synchronized. I was laser bonding a backup link. I see. Well, I'd better let you finish up so you can get off the ship. Excuse me. And he attacks Picard. He attacks Picard. Picard knocks him out. He runs to the transporter room, and the computer comes on saying 30 seconds before primary power is shut off. He gets to the transporter, he goes to beam down, and primary power is shut off, and he's left there standing in the dark. So then Data's having a discussion with one of the people down there. He's trying to be human, a little overly so. Then he's still trying to talk it up with Riker. So then he introduces Hutch to Data and lets Data and Hutch talk each other's ear off. So then Riker asks Geordi what happened to the captain, and Geordi said that he went to get his own saddle. And he probably went right to the stables. I bet he's 10 kilometers from here already. Riker says, lucky him. So then the captain goes, gets Tuvok, as we know him, Russ, and drags him into sickbay. So then Captain tries to talk with Devor. Who are you? What are you doing on my ship? The Byron sweep uses a high-frequency plasma field. Your phaser won't work. You're probably right, but I'm willing to bet this will. A laser wielder can be deadly. What's going on in main engineering? I suggest that you cooperate. You're Starfleet. You won't kill me. You're sure? And he knocks him out with a hypospray. And Picard gets caught by the other bad guys. Then they go back to Hutch and Data still talking. Troy and Riker are watching Data and Hutch talk. Geordi notices some strange energy readings from the table. Geordi wants to look, but they don't want him to look. A gunfight erupts. They shoot Geordi with a laser. The bad guys are working on the ship. They bring Picard to all the bad guys. Now he's outnumbered. He should have kept a couple of pressure syringes. He could have pressure syringed her or something and tried to do something. What's his name? Yippee-ki-yay MF guy. Oh, Bruce Willis. What was the character's name? I don't remember. He could have been a Bruce Willis type. But this is before Bruce Willis's time. We didn't know all this stuff, but he could have been a one-man thing, but he gave up willingly. Why did he give up so willingly? He lies and tells them his name is Mott, and he's the barber, and he wanted to go riding. They seem to be working on some kind of machine. I hope my audio is okay. This is frightening. But they're working on this thing. It looks like a bomb. It looks like the Hutch guy didn't make it. And they're all being guarded by these armed guys. And we all know Data could probably do it all in like seconds. He's probably waiting for Riker to give him instructions or something. Troy says they haven't tried to communicate with the outside. No demands, no political statements, no theft. They must want something. Orton is not as calm as he looks. He looks very agitated and nervous as if something's gone wrong. It's possible that Geordi upset their timetable when he saw the hidden weapons. Orton may be improvising, but he didn't plan to take us hostage so early, and now he doesn't know what to do. Data says if they do not have a plan for this contingency, we may have initiative. Maybe, but we need to figure out how to use it. How is he? I wanted to point out that Deanna is the only crew member that wears clothes like that. Every other crew member, including Dr. Crusher, wears the collars up to here. She's the only one. Do you think the producers had to wear that on purpose? Or was it her own choice? If it was her own choice, it's fine. But I'm just wondering, who decided Deanna was going to dress differently than everybody else? So Beverly says there's no permanent adjustment. I've adjusted the optical transducer in his visor to block some of the pain receptors in his brain. It's only partially effective. I need to get him to a medical facility. I doubt they'll agree to that, Riker says, but maybe if we tell them Geordi's dying, they would give us access to a medical kit. We might be able to use some of the tools to make a weapon. Data says perhaps we can use the visor as a weapon. If the optical transducer were modified, we might be able to generate a hypersonic pulse. A hypersonic pulse would overload the autoreceptors of everyone in the room. It would cause immediate unconsciousness. Can you make the adjustments on the visor yourself? It'll look suspicious if you're working on it. I'll try. I'll need Geordi to help me, though, through some of it. All right. Be as casual as you can. Let us know when ready. Because, of course, it'll knock everybody else out. But Data. Okay, so then we're all back on the Enterprise. And they're all working on that thing again. So then Picard does something for the steam or whatever that stuff is to come out. And they all panic. The wall comes down in engineering and Picard escapes. The guy chases Picard through the tunnels, and Picard sees the energy stream coming towards the door, and Picard puts his uniform down while the guy's investigating with his jacket. He dies, and Picard is out in the hallway. So then the bad guys are in engineering. The primary inducer is completely fused. There's no way to fix it. Without the diverter, we don't have any protection from the Byron sweep. I know that. How long before the Byron sweep gets you? About 12 minutes. We should go to 10 forward. That's the last place on the ship that'll the sweep by the Byron field. All right, we're leaving, but we're taking the Terithium with us. What? Do you know how violet Terithium is? We can't just start hauling it through the ship. And she just gives him a dirty look. I'll try to make some modifications. Salter's dead. He ran into the Byron sweep. What about Mott? I don't know. I don't think he's a barber. I found this in the Jeffries tube. And Picard's badge. Um, so then Picard goes to Worf's quarters, and I'm wondering if he's looking for the Bat'leth. Sword. A fancy Klingon sword to fight with. So then Picard is eyeing this big, huge arrow thing. And I'm like, get a knife, some hand to hand combat. You can't shoot those arrow things in the corridors of the starship. But anyway, he overhears this conversation. Um, uh, so she said that, she's telling Kiros, and we don't see Kiros. There's a Starfleet officer on board. He's killed Sala, and he may have killed Dever. He also destroyed the diverter in engineering, so we have to leave here before the Byron sweep enters this section. What about the Reslium? We're taking it to 10 forward. There should be enough time. And then Picard breaks his silence and says, don't be a fool. You know better than to try and move dilithium residents. Mr. Mott, or should I call you Lieutenant? Lieutenant Commander, perhaps? Call me anything you wish. Moving to Rithium residence requires specific equipment. You can't simply improvise something. I wouldn't need to improvise if you haven't damaged our field diverter. But if you're so concerned about the terrestrium, I suggest you stop interfering with us before you set off an explosion that could destroy the Enterprise and you. I'd rather destroy the ship than allow that material to fall in the hands of terrorists. What made you think we're terrorists? Territhium resonant is a highly toxic waste product produced by our engines. It's only possible we use as a weapon. You might be right, Mr. Mott. We've been planning this a long time, and I doubt you're really able to stop us or even slow us down. And he takes Worf's crossbows. I mean, a little hand-to-hand knife throwing thing. I don't need we need the crossbows. It's such a confined area, but who knows? And she talks to him the whole time. See what happens. And Picard is mixing something up in sickbay. John McClane! I remembered John McClane, Bruce Willis. I remembered. Apparently, Picard removed the stairs to 10 forward. I don't know what Picard is making. They have a tete-a-tete talk, and she says the Byron thing is dangerous to him and her, and he says he plans on getting off the ship the same way she is, and she says, how am I getting off the ship? He said, if you've been planning this a really long time, you have a ship coming to meet you here, and I plan on being on that ship just like you. So then we're back on the planet or whatever that thing is in the reception room. So then Riker and Dr. Crusher are discussing Geordi's failing health. Pretend. He's in a lot of pain. I think he should be fine. He needs some water. Is that all right? She goes to the water fountain where Troy can hear but not Orton or the waiter. We're almost ready. We set the visor to emit a hypersonic cells. There'll be a short burst of light. We need a distraction. So then Troy tells Riker they're just about ready and they need a distraction. You have to know how to talk to him, Orton. I think we need to discuss the situation. There's nothing to discuss, he says. Sit down. I'm not interested in hearing your hostage negotiation tactics, Commander. It can't hurt you to listen, can it? All right. Thank you. Now, the first thing I think we need to discuss is this. And he knocks him down. Well, it's a little dark, but Picard proves that you can use that weapon in a bended corridor because he shoots the bad guy in the leg and the bad guy gets knocked out. No, I don't understand why Picard just doesn't take her out. He lets her win this, and I don't understand why. She says, I have Mott. Is he alive? Yes. Good. Meet us at intersection 41. Understood. And she's like, go this way. It's amazing how far ahead of Star Trek from today that they still make people put their hands on top of their heads. After all these years, it's still a tried and true method. So then the guy brings Picard in. Wow, not as clever as you thought. Where's Parme? He shot him with some kind of arrow. He's not dead. He will soon be. The sweep's nearly here. We don't have time to go back for him. What about Neil? The sweep got him. Let's go. I thought you were just going to talk to him. I did. He just didn't like what I had to say. Data says there's a perimeter warning from the Remnant LA. A small ship is approaching. I believe Master Oren has dropped his defense shield. Riker, this must be the sign they are waiting for. Mr. Data, you will be the only one unaffected by the hyperburst. As soon as everyone is unconscious, you need to get to the computer panel to stop that ship. I will try, sir. Oh, goodbye. Okay. So they're walking along, and he confesses to who he is. Leave the tritium here and take me with you. You can use me as a hostage instead of threatening. I'm not a terrorist, Captain, nor do I have political agenda. Although I know some people who do have agendas and they are very interested in this little container. Profit. This is all about profit. Oh, so they're talking to the Ferengi, huh? Perhaps I think of this as commerce. Now open the door, go slowly. Um and they go through and let's see what happens. So Picard has set up a couple of little minor explosions to be a distraction, and then he ends up in with a tussle with his two captors. The lady gets away because the ship arrived and it beamed her off, but Picard is still in track of the beam. So then Picard takes his badge and contacts the base and reaches Commander Data and tells Commander Data to shut off the beam immediately. So Data has turned off the beam, and uh he says the scout ship beamed someone off the Enterprise. Do you know anything about it? I know they won't get very far. Um the ship blows up. Uh, so Crusher says, hold still, you've got. Oh, hold on a second. So then they're all back on the Enterprise. And I have a question for you. Where was the rest of the 1,000 people? If it was just the senior staff at the reception, where were the other 1,000 people that are on the Enterprise? I'm just curious. I'm sorry, Captain. I don't know what could have happened to it. Hold still. I can't heal this cleanly if you don't stop fidgeting. I've had 3 security teams search Deck 7. They couldn't find anything there. Worf comes in with the saddle. Captain, you keep a saddle on board, Mr. Worf? I'm surprised at you. Anyone who's an experienced rider has his own saddle. It's perfectly normal. Actually, it came in handy. I only wish I had the opportunity to use it on a horse. Of course. So that was the end of Starship Mine. It was a nice little character-driven episode. Not too many expletives, but there was a lot of back and forth with this back and forth and back and forth. I felt like a yo-yo. So my question is, where were all the extras? Why was just the senior officers at this thing? And not all the senior officers were at this thing. I think we were missing a few people. But anyways, if you could please hit the like and subscribe. Don't forget to check out If Then. Oh, darn it! Please check out If Then later this afternoon. And don't forget Flashback Mondays and my daily book reviews. Got some interesting things coming on down the pike. So please hit the like and subscribe and make sure you tune in with me next week when we do Lessons Mine. And if you haven't seen all the other 6 seasons, please go back and check. Thank you.